Hi everybody, I'm back, and this is a continuation of lecture number 3. We're talking about revolutions, and I've just finished speaking about the revolutions of 1830 and 1848. Well, this is sort of an addendum to the revolutionary political things that were happening in Europe and then how they spread to other parts of the world. So this is part of lecture number 3, so think of it as lecture 3B. Alright, well, other revolutions that took place during the 1800s and clearly reflect GNOS include Latin American revolutions. Most of Latin America had been colonized by the Portuguese and the Spanish during the age of old imperialism in the 1600s. By the 1800s, Latin America was an unstable place. Revolutions will occur in various countries in Latin America during the 1800s. So, let's look at these using GNOS. And remember, I'll talk more about this in class. Alright, GNOS. G, government problems. Latin American nations will receive their independence following revolutions in the early 1800s. Many of these revolutions, by the way, were inspired by the French Revolution and then by Napoleon. Latin American countries like Haiti, which was ruled by France, Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Argentina, and Chile, all ruled by Spain, will receive their independence due to the inspirational revolutionary leaders like José de San Martín, Simón Bolívar, and Toussaint Louverture. You can look at their names, look them up on your word lists. Basically, these nations were sick of being ruled over by other nations. Alright, E, economic problems. Most of the populations in Latin American nations were poor and landless. This class conflict inspired the poorest members of society to rally behind leaders like Simón Bolívar and San Martín. Alright, N, new ideas and philosophies. People in Latin America during the early 1800s were really inspired by ideas from the Enlightenment. These ideas spread to the colonies in Latin America via Napoleon's troops. People in Latin America also rallied around the new theory of nationalism. Alright, O, other revolutions. The French Revolution, Napoleon, and the American revolutions. They all helped to inspire people living in Latin America to gain their freedom. Alright, S, social inequality. In Latin America, a social hierarchy existed called the peninsular system. Maybe you remember it from 9th grade. Remember learning about that when you studied Latin America last year? Anyway, under this system, European-born people held most of the power and prestige in society. The lower classes were made up of the indigenous and mixed ancestry inhabitants, and they became sick of their position in society. So it looks as though Latin American countries received their independence due to GNOS as well. Latin America will also go through another series of revolutions following their independence from countries like France and Spain. So let's actually look at these now using GNOS. Alright, so there was a second set of revolutions in places that gained their independence due to like the French Revolution and Napoleon. All those ideas led to their initial independence from European nations. Well, they're actually going to have other revolutions that ensued shortly thereafter. Alright, so GNOS for these other Latin American revolutions. G, government problems. Many Latin American countries were ruled by military dictators after their independence, including strongmen called caudillos. These dictators didn't always look out for the common man, upsetting many people. This was especially true in Mexico, where a dictator named Porfirio Díaz ruled from 1870 all the way until 1910. In many South American nations, there were oligarchies established. Oligarchy is a system of rule in which ruling power belongs to a small, powerful elite in society, often the richest people from the highest social classes. Alright, E, economic problems. Many countries in South America, especially South America, had cash crop economies, and they were dependent on these cash crops. This made the nations prone to economic disaster should one of these crops fail in a given year. Another economic problem faced by Latin American countries was economic imperialism. Many of these countries were almost entirely supported or invested in by foreigners. These foreigners were interested in making money. not necessarily interested in making improvements within the country. Many countries became dependent on this type of investment. All right. N, new ideas and social theories. You know, people were opposed to the social injustices that existed in Latin America. Lots of nationalism developed. However, many people in Latin America were unable to unite themselves together because of geographic boundaries. All right, and O, other or ongoing revolutions. You know, the revolutions that were taking place in Europe in 1830 and 1848, they inspired revolutionary actions in Latin America as the ideas spread. All right, and finally S, social inequality. Although Latin American nations gained their independence, the peninsular system still existed. People of mixed ethnic ancestry simply replaced the Spanish-born leaders and established oligarchies. The Catholic Church had a stabilizing effect on Latin America and helped address this social inequality. They helped to promote education, especially for the lower classes. So, you know, it's clear that in both Latin America as well as Europe during the 1800s, GNOS inspired revolutionary ideas and behavior. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.